A question today came up in the real estate investing course. Should you paint acoustic ceilings before selling or before moving into the property or before turning the property into a rental? Well, here's the answer. No, you should never paint acoustic ceilings. Let's answer why and what you should do. Here's the thing. Acoustic ceilings are usually removed by applying water to the acoustic texture and then scraping them off. When you paint an acoustic ceiling, you actually create a barrier to water absorption, which means in the future, if somebody wants to squirt water on the ceiling to remove the acoustic ceiling, what you've actually now done is you've basically created a latex seal. Think about like a latex glove and how that sort of doesn't really permeate water very well. And now it becomes extremely difficult for you to remove that acoustic ceiling. Now, a lot of folks think, well, I'd rather paint it because, it'll brighten up the room and, maybe it's got some discoloration in different areas and I don't really want to deal with removing it because what if it's asbestos? Let's talk about that. Here's the thing about asbestos. Yes, asbestos is dangerous. Yes, asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral. And most of the people who got sick from exposure to asbestos were people who were working without the proper safety precautions, either working on, let's say, brake pads, or maybe even mining asbestos, which they used to do, or working in some kind of facility that processed asbestos without actually wearing the proper protective gear. Most importantly, a simple $22 P100 respirator. You should wear that anytime you go near or disturb asbestos. Now, what does that have to do with removing acoustic ceiling that might have asbestos in it, which is usually going to be any kind of house that's built somewhere between like the mid-50s all the way up to probably about 1980. We stopped seeing asbestos really used around 1978, but some products were still on the shelves and still in contractors' warehouses, so we still saw some asbestos products throughout 1978, 1979, and sometimes even into the early 80s. So keep an eye out that, yes, you could have asbestos. Now, what does the EPA, or what does really our government tell us about asbestos? Well, they tell us a few things. They actually tell us that just because you have asbestos doesn't mean it's inherently dangerous. Having asbestos ducts or asbestos ceilings that aren't disturbed doesn't necessarily mean you have any kind of issue that you need to be worried about. Only time you gotta worry about it is when you're trying to remove it or try to repair it, which usually we don't recommend repairing any kind of asbestos anything. Now, what else does the government tell us? Well, the government also tells us that you don't need any kind of special license or accreditation as a homeowner to remove asbestos yourself. And so what does that tell us? Well, if asbestos were really as big of an issue as we feel like it is because of those TV commercials.
Attention. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with mesothelioma,
the government wouldn't let us go near the stuff. In fact, it'd probably be something like what happened with Chinese drywall, where the government basically shut down houses just because they had Chinese drywall. The same is not true about asbestos. In fact, the most important thing for asbestos removal, again, that P100 respirator. Now you might ask yourself, well, Kevin, why are there asbestos remediation companies that have to be licensed for asbestos removal and have to be certified with the Department of Health Standards, or whatever the heck DOSH stands for in California, and all these other health organizations? Why does that matter then if you don't need a license as a homeowner or any kind of certification to remove asbestos? Well, the reason for that is because those companies, guess what? They have to protect their employees. And so most of the rules that indicate that, hey, you want to hire somebody else to come in and remove asbestos for you, and they're going to come in with spacesuits and negative air pressure and containment and everything, that's not for you. Yeah, sure, it'd be nice to kind of keep all the debris inside the house too and not let it go around floating around in the environment. Although remember, it is a naturally occurring mineral. It's actually to protect the employees who are now working with asbestos every single day. So when you're trying to evaluate, should I do asbestos work myself or should I hire an asbestos company, know that a lot of the money you spend when you hire an asbestos remediation company actually goes to PPE, personal protective equipment, and the standards and practices related to that, not the actual work, because removing these acoustic ceilings, really easy. As long as they haven't been painted. Bottom line, don't paint your acoustic or popcorn ceilings. Instead, scrape them, retexture them, and paint them. Just a heads up, it's probably a good idea for you to test the ceiling first as well, which is really easy to do. It costs you like 25 bucks. Thanks for watching, folks. If you need an ironing board, we got one here. If you want more real estate education and in-depth knowledge for a very small price, make sure to check out the real estate investing course. If you are interested in investing in real estate at all, follow me on the Instagram. And of course, if you happen to be an agent as well and want some training or private live streams as an investor or agent 4 times a week, also check out the real estate agent course, and you'll see all that information in the link below.